Welcome to Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by area realtor Jim York and York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information about the local real estate market, featuring leading experts in the real estate field.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate. I'm Michael York with the York Real Estate Group, and I'm joined today by our host Jim York and his guest Cindy Carroll of Carroll and Carroll Appraisers.
Thank you for the introduction, Michael. Well, Cindy, I appreciate you coming back on the show. I have a lot of respect for you, and I know lots of people in our industry does, and we value your opinion on what's going on in the market here in the Naples area. But before we get into what you think what's going on in the market, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. Thanks, Jim, and I'm glad to be here. I am a residential real estate appraiser. My brother and I are partners in the firm of Carroll and Carroll Incorporated, and we've been appraising in the Naples, Collier, and Lee County areas for over 30 years now.
Okay, and where are you located?
Well, the office itself is located on South Horseshoe Drive. That puts us just north of the Naples Airport.
Before we get into the show, I remember one other time we were talking is, what does it take to be a real estate appraiser now? It has changed, right?
It's changed a lot in the last few years.
I know. I want people to understand that.
Probably the first hurdle today is that you have to have a 4-year college degree to become a state certified residential appraiser or a commercial appraiser. And that's really the first problem right there. Many of the seasoned, well-experienced appraisers today, including myself, could not meet that education requirement today.
Okay.
So, but then even if you have that education requirement met, then you have to take some education and become registered. But you can't work until you find a state certified appraiser who is willing to take you on as a trainee. And this training period is extended at least 2 years.
Right.
And in the early stages, your supervisory appraiser has to inspect all of the properties with you, review all of your work, sign off on all your work, take full responsibility for your work product. And so it's just really not economically feasible for a state certified appraiser today to take on a trainee.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, it's just that. So you're telling me there's going to probably be a shortage going forward.
That is my guess.
Right.
I think the average age today of your state certified appraisers is somewhere in the very high 50s to low 60s. We don't see any young people coming into the industry, and we're going to see a lot of retirement over the next 5 years probably. Right. Where we go from there, I don't know. It's a problem. Yeah. I have a position open in my firm right now, and I've advertised, and I'm not getting responses.
Well, Cindy, we're here today to talk about the market, and boy, I've been here 20 years and I've seen a lot, and you've been here longer, but I'm seeing some changes in the market. So maybe you could just tell our viewers what you're seeing.
The market is very interesting right now. The single-family home market seems to be pretty logically moving ahead. I believe that we've been in a stabilizing trend for perhaps as much as 3 years right now. But because our market is so dynamic in terms of its price ranges and its product types and the geography today, it takes a long time for any trend to move through every price level, every product type, and every geographical area. But I think we're getting really close to that. The only exception would be in the $0 to $300,000 market. All other markets, for the most part, are stabilizing. What I mean by that is that supply and demand are returning to balance. The days of rapid appreciation of value are behind us in this economic cycle.
Okay.
And we're going to see some markets oversupply, so we won't really have any change in value up or down. But if some market areas become severely oversupplied, then we could see some erosion in value. The single-family home inventory, market-wide, increased 26% year over year. The under $300,000 price range, which in 2012 made up 40% of all of our single-family inventory, now constitutes only 11%.
But that has to do with the foreclosures and that, not? Or,
Sure,
right.
sure. I mean, it's part of that flushing
Cycle,
out.
right,
But of course, I'm making a comparison back to 2012, and by then a lot of that had been flushed already.
Right.
It's also the fact that the under $300,000 price bracket has been going up in terms of value at 12% a year
That's right.
steadily for several years now. So it's diminishing rapidly. The condominium market is something else entirely, and frankly, I don't really understand what's happening in that market right now. And I've consulted with many other very well-seasoned real estate professionals in Naples, and we're all just kind of shaking our heads because the condominium inventory is up 51% year over year.
Oh.
And the $0 to $300,000 price bracket in the condominium inventory is up 50%. So you have to kind of shake your head and say, what's going on there? What's happening? Where are we going?
And a balanced inventory in your terms is what?
I think 12 months. That's my measure.
So they have 100 sales in the last year and 100 homes are on the market. That's 12 months?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I think that if any market has less than 6 months of inventory, you can anticipate values are still going up.
Well,
You get to about 9 months of inventory, that starts to slow down. And then by the time you hit that 1 year of inventory, you become pretty stable at that point. And that's what the residential, single-family residential market has been doing.
the areas, have you seen, what areas are selling most or best? I mean, geographical or even price point? Or is the 400 to 700,000 a stable market, or?
Pretty much.
Right.
All of those different price ranges are pretty stable.
Mm-hmm.
The of what we might call affordable housing,
Right.
which we don't find in new construction today,
Right.
but we do find in the East Naples area still, and we also find east of 951 in Golden Gate Estates.
Mm-hmm.
Those markets are still very active, with values increasing and properties not staying on the market very long. And we're also seeing new construction out in that region, which we didn't see for
Years.
quite a few years.
Right.
hmm The only entity building affordable housing today would be Habitat,
Mm-hmm.
and they are building in Golden Gate Estates and in other planned communities.
Well, Cindy, we're going to take a little short break, and
Okay.
we're going to maybe touch a little on new construction too, the inventory levels there.
Thanks.
And we'll be right back in 1 minute here.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Marco, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Think of the most experienced York Real Estate Group associated with the #1 brokerage in Naples, Downing Fry Realty, which produced $1.9 billion in sales in 2014, controlling 43% of all transactions in Naples. Jim, Michael, and Morgan York make up the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty. With over $250 million in sales transactions, they can offer you the expertise and trust you want and need in a realtor. Call them today at 239-273-6727 or visit their website, www.naplesyorkrealestate.com.
Welcome back. Cindy, let's talk about new construction inventories, because it was in the paper on Sunday that we're oversupplied in new construction. So a little touch base on that.
You know, after the bottom of the recession in '09, there were several years that we just didn't
Nothing
see any
happened.
new construction.
Right.
And then in 2012, it came back online, and furiously,
That's right.
really,
Mm-hmm.
because our resale market was still going up in terms of value, and the new construction could keep pace with that and move along. So as the single-family home market begins to stabilize, and stabilizes pretty much across the board, price ranges, geographical areas, the new construction market is having to be very careful and cautious that they don't get out beyond the resale market. So we're starting to see advertisements, incentives, concessions that just haven't been around for a long time.
No.
I hear free pools and free this, and free club memberships, which can constitute quite a big price tag when you look at it. So I also think that the builders are being very careful to build to demand and not get out ahead of it, not do a lot of speculative building. And I'm also hearing, and I hear that primarily because the buyers want to put their own brand on the home. They are not as interested in an inventory model all finished out to someone else's tastes. So the builder doesn't want to have a lot of those sitting around. One of the most interesting phenomena to me in the new construction market is the out-migration from Port Royal and Old Naples and even Moorings and Park Shore into the Isles of Collier Preserve. That's amazing. I've talked to many real estate professionals who have described for me the buyers that they've helped move from our old established communities into the Isles. And I think that probably that word of mouth is helping that trend move along. But it's a great exchange. It's not a huge trade-off in location, but it's a big trade-off in cost.
And let's just take some pockets. Downtown, we were on the show earlier in the year, you were talking about new homes, inventory down there, spec homes. What's the situation now?
Situation now is that there's a little more than a year of supply. Not too bad. I think maybe there were some price adjustments that helped move that inventory along. So I think that the picture for that new construction today is a little bit better than it was a year or two ago. And I think that's true of the Moorings Park Shore area also.
And we were talking about price resistance a little bit. Is it still, you can't buy a tear down or anything at a reasonable price anymore, right?
I think that the land value in the Old Naples market has hit its top for this economic cycle. And we're seeing some homes in that land value pricing category that are not moving along. But I think that a lot of sellers and realtors also got a little caught up in this value inertia.
Right.
This anticipation of a value increase. And here we are in September of 16. And if we are looking at a market that stabilized 12 months ago, but your seller may still be thinking that
that's true.
Value's been going up.
Right.
It's then when the listing adjustments have to be made, often the seller feels like they've lost something, but they really never had it. But it's still uncomfortable. And I think market-wide we're dealing with that in the single-family home market, is just getting adjusted to this new normal of stability and realizing that values weren't increasing across a 12-month period when we thought they might have been.
Yeah, I think we went through this once before, just back when we had the recession. I was telling my clients that we want to be ahead of the market. We don't want to be chasing the market.
Exactly.
And some listened and some didn't. So
for some reason we don't learn.
We don't learn. So
and at the same time though, the prior economic cycle and 2005 and the months that followed still seem to be very fresh in our minds.
Right, yeah.
But yes, we will repeat our mistakes over and over again.
Answer this question for me. It's a little off what we're talking about, but if a home, you're appraising a home and we sold it, okay, but it's been on the market for a year and a half, how's that affect the appraisal?
The fact that it's been on the market for a year or a year and a half.
Or doesn't it affect appraisal?
It's a fact to be known in the market, and it is the listing history of the subject property and the comparables is an item that we analyze in the
That's right.
process of making an appraisal.
Yeah, because longer houses on the market, typically people wonder why it's been on the market, or you really don't usually get the best price for it longer it's on the market.
Because it's got that history.
It's got that history.
Yep.
I mean, it's hard again to tell people this, but it's...
Yes, it's interesting because if you look in the MLS at any given sale, that last listing, it may have only been on the market for 30, 60 days.
Right.
But if you look at the listing history,
Right.
then you can see that it's been through 3 or 4 different agents and many, many price reductions and many months of active listing to get to this point.
Well, we've covered a lot about the Naples area, and I know you, for years, have been high on Golden Gate or towards Ave Maria and stuff like that. Could you just give our viewers a little update on what's going on out there? Because that's starting to increase, too.
It is. Ave Maria performed phenomenally over this last 12 months. I think that median price increased almost 200% in that area, as it is a vestige of affordable housing.
Right.
Rural Lands West, which is going to fill the space between Ave Maria and Golden Gate Estates, that gap,
Right.
which is now Gargiulo Farm Fields, is in the stages and expected to come out of the ground. And I don't know what their pricing is yet, but it may also start to fill that void and have a very positive effect on the Golden Gate Estates units that border it, because it's going to offer you schools and shopping and employment.
And that's the Minto group, right?
Yes, it is.
Right.
And another big boost to the Golden Gate Estates area is the Publix that's being built at Immokalee and Randall right now. That's going to be great for that area.
Well, Cindy, we're going to take a little short break,
Okay.
and then I want you to look in that little crystal ball and tell us about what you think is going to happen in the next 6 months, okay?
Okay.
We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thinking of buying a home located in a golf course community in the Naples, Marco, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Here is what Mark Lai, former PGA winner, says about Realtor Michael York of the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty.
Hi, I'm Mark Lai. If you have any real estate needs in Naples, Florida, the one company to contact is the York Real Estate Group. Also, if you want a golf course property to invest in, Michael York of the York Real Estate Group is the guy to contact. Michael knows every golf course in Naples. I will tell you this, he's been in the golf business for a long time. He's played all the great golf courses down here, and he is an outstanding realtor. I've known him for quite some time, and he's honest, he's got a lot of integrity, and he very much knows his stuff on all the different clubs here in Naples. So the York Real Estate Group is a great place to start. So if you have any time or anybody that wants to visit down here in Naples and look at the options out there, please contact the York Real Estate Group.
Welcome back. Cindy, let's talk about what you foresee, and we're going into the fall season, which people come down here and buy for season, and then we have a little low period there, Christmas or whatever, and then we go into season. So I know it's hard to put a crystal ball on us, but you've been doing it for umpteen years, even though you look a lot younger than you are.
Thank you.
Tell us what you think.
Well, I think we've got to get past this election.
That's what everybody says.
At least we get past the election and we know what we have to deal with. Right now we have this uncertainty. And then I think we'll settle it, hunker down and go forward depending on that decision. I'm wondering if our markets are reacting a little bit to this malaise that we seem to be in right now, and whether that might be a temporary factor relative to the election. And so that come January, we may perk up a little bit and have a good season, but who knows? Election years are always difficult for local real estate.
You know, they say that, but you know, what's going to change? I mean, seriously, I mean, you know, everything is so integrated in our government.
True.
I mean, nothing, I don't think drastically is going to change. I mean,
True.
But I could be wrong.
True, and we don't know.
Right.
But it seems to always bother us when things are uncertain in our future. I'm going to watch the condominium market very carefully because I really don't know what's going on there and why we are seeing such an oversupply. Some attribute it to the Canadian dollar, that a lot of Canadians have put their properties on the market. The British not being here as buyers. You know, we're pulling straws and trying to understand. I think the single family market could remain pretty stable for maybe 12 months, 24 months. And in a couple of years, we might see some sales occurring in the Northeast, Northwest that frees up some money to come down and buy. And then we might just start it all over again.
Where do you, before we end the show here, where do you think is a good value to buy, in what area?
Oh, Jim.
I know.
That's not a fair question.
But you know, you said years ago, or last year or something, there was a place down near Royal Harbor that was, you thought was, the guy was building homes that you thought were.
We talked about off of Bayshore Drive.
Bayshore, right, okay.
And the new construction trend trying to get started down there. And it's still struggling.
It is?
It's really struggling, yeah. It's the timing in the market is not good for Bayshore. It always is at the tail end of the market and tries to get going. Now, let's see what happens at the Triangle.
Right.
Already in the MLS, there are listings for Trio, the high-rise that's going to go up. That could be a real game changer for that whole area.
Down there.
It could. It just really could. And I'm ready for that, and I think the community is also. So that's a very interesting thing to watch. The other thing that's incredible is what's happening at the hub of 951 and 41.
Right.
Restaurants, shopping, communities, incredible growth going on out in that area, and that's becoming a new destination. So there's a lot going on in our community.
Yeah, there is. Well, I think that place right down there where the Triangle's going to be, it's going to be really give it a big jump.
I think so too.
So,
I'm looking forward. I'd like to have one of those high floor condos, but I can't afford it.
Well, we can go in together.
So
maybe.
I just think the views are going to be very interesting
Right.
from that perch.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming on the show.
My
and
pleasure,
I
always.
hope maybe at the beginning of next year you'll come on again and give us a little update.
Sure, that'd be
Okay.
fun.
Thanks, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.